house was in a quiet neighborhood and was generally peaceful. But that evening the wind was howling and distant sounds filled the air. We planned to watch a movie at my house with my friends, Deniz and Aylin. Due to the cold and ominous night, we decided to go inside. We got some hot tea and started watching movies in the living room. We were fans of horror movies, and that evening we had chosen an old horror classic called The Dark Shadow. The movie was mysterious and full of creepy moments. We were completely engrossed, and the suspenseful scenes had us glued to the screen. Suddenly the electricity went out, and the room was plunged into darkness. This unexpected interruption seemed to bring us closer to the setting of the film. We took our flashlight and continued watching the movie without worrying too much about the power outage. However, as the room grew colder and the wind outside intensified, an eerie atmosphere began to spread throughout the house. Throughout the movie, I found myself identifying more and more with the main character. The character in the movie was caught in a story where a dark entity began to take over his home, and the power outage and dark environment blurred the lines between the real world and the movie world. We started hearing strange noises around the house, and the strangeness was slowly leading to a growing hysteria. Aylin's hand started to shake and Deniz said this must be a joke, but I had a gut feeling that something was very wrong. We couldn't stand it anymore, and slowly went upstairs with our flashlights. We saw that the door of one of the rooms upstairs was slightly open. We opened it and went in. The room looked almost identical to the character's room in the movie. Strange symbols and writings adorned the walls. At that moment, we realized that we were not alone in the house. We suddenly realized that the boundaries between the dream and the real world were blurred, just like in the movie. As we walked around the house, we saw strange sounds intensify and shadows dancing in the rooms. We rushed downstairs in a panic and admitted that something serious had been missed in the house. We decided to go out, but the front door wouldn't open. When we looked out the window in panic, we saw that the view outside had changed. Now the house felt like it was inside a dark and threatening amusement park. We were dragged into a horror adventure, and there was no way out. We had to do everything we could to survive in this scary amusement park. Before we fully understood what was happening, we were in the middle of a horror story facing various dangers. In the spooky atmosphere of the haunted amusement park, Aylin, Deniz, and I came together and decided that we needed to make a plan to survive. We saw a huge Ferris wheel in the middle of the park, and inside there was a switch that had to be turned to make it work. As a first step, we tried to reach the Ferris wheel. We followed the tracks of strange and scary creatures along the way. These shadow creatures were changing shape as they approached us. We had to escape from them and encountered many traps. When we finally reached the Ferris wheel, we realized that we had to overcome many difficulties to get the key. As we got to the top of the wheel, we saw the shadows closing in on us, and we had one last struggle to get the key. Once we had the key in our hands, we could escape from this spooky world of the amusement park. We returned home with the key, but the border between the terrible world we saw in the movie and the real world had changed once again. After that night, watching movies never felt the same. Deniz, Aylin, and I could not forget the strange experience we had in our own home. Memories of the amusement park and menacing shadows haunt our dreams, and we are changed forever.